Do you remember your first paranormal encounter? Your first ghostly sighting? Perhaps it was a shadow in the corner of your bedroom, or it was a full-on apparition. Perhaps you even heard whispers coming from the closet. Well, for some of us, very early on, we recognize that things aren't the way they seem. Reality is a little bit different. My first paranormal encounter happened when I was about 4 years old. This is the first one I can remember, and it is quite odd. I will begin the story by saying that we were traveling across the Rocky Mountains. We were in a van. Now, in the late 1970s, vans were equipped with beds, windows, all sorts of things. Well, this van that my dad owned was brand new. He built the bed in the back, carpeted the walls. Yeah, it was the late 70s. Well, we ended up traveling across the Rocky Mountains, and it was late at night. There were no hotels that were open or taking in guests, and there was really nowhere to sleep. So my dad, thinking, well, the family can just sleep in the van. We got a bed, we got blankets, we got food. So we ended up staying at a campground. We rolled into a KOA campground and parked on this hillside. Now, we were told, go to bed, kids. I was like 4 years old. My brother was 2 years older than me. We were sleeping on the bed. My mom was sleeping right in the back of the bed, and my dad slept in the driver's seat. We were only going to be there for maybe like 4 or 5 hours before dawn broke anyway. Well, I was sleeping. I woke up, and it wasn't like sleep paralysis or anything. I was fully awake, and it was kind of like really, really dark out. And I remember looking from the back of the van, from the bed towards the front. I saw my dad slumped over with a pillow in the driver's seat sleeping. But there was another figure in the van. There was one in the passenger seat. Now, every time I kind of looked over, because it was kind of odd, the person that was sitting in the passenger seat would start to turn to look back at me. So I immediately closed my eyes. I didn't want to see whatever it was. It felt very odd. It felt strange to me. I knew this person wasn't supposed to be in our vehicle, but I was only 4 years old. Now, I tried to figure out what it was. So again, I opened my eyes. I saw him looking forward out the passenger window. And as I looked over at him, it almost appeared as if he sensed me, that I was looking directly at him at the back of his head. And he started to turn again and look. Well, I immediately closed my eyes again, being frightened by this. I knew it wasn't a good feeling. I didn't get a really good feeling from this, but it could have just been stranger danger. Someone in the van tried to look at me. Now, as I was huddled underneath the blanket, I felt very odd because I realized every time I looked at him, he knew, even though he was facing forward. So I thought, this person has some kind of weird ability, some kind of strange ability where they can actually see that I'm looking at them. Well, I tried it again. I kind of lowered my blanket this time. I just kind of kept a little crack between the blanket and the pillows and my eyes just to see if I could peer. Now, I did close one eye, kind of did that because I wanted to see, just kind of squint. I just managed a little bit to look at him. Can I figure out what it is, who it is? And immediately, it started to turn again. Well, this time I got a little bit braver. I kind of kept my eyes open, or at least squinted a little bit, just to see. And he turned fully around, and he looked directly at me. It was a male. I couldn't see through him. He looked just like a physical person. It wasn't a ghost. But he did have like a little scruffy beard to him and kind of a messed up hairdo. And he just stared at me, just looking at me. And I got this really weird feeling that I wasn't supposed to see him and he wasn't supposed to see me, but somehow we saw each other. It was almost as if this person was there looking back at me going, what is this looking at me? Just the same as I was looking at him going, what is this looking at me? Who is this stranger in our vehicle? Well, at that point, I closed my eyes and he turned around, faced the front again. Now, this happened a couple more times where I kind of tested it out and he kept turning and looking at me. I don't remember what happened afterwards. I must have just fallen asleep at that point, given up, or just thought, oh, maybe this person is just sleeping in our van. Maybe it is a real person. Well, I woke up the next morning and I told my parents what had happened, and they kind of looked at me strange. They were just like, yeah, kid, whatever. And we went on our merry way. But this was the first time I saw something creepy, something paranormal, perhaps a ghost. I don't know what it was. Now, for those first encounters when you're a child, they can be, well, they set in your memory. You understand what you saw, and they're pretty vivid. To this day, it is a very vivid memory for me. It's one of my first memories of something strange happening. What I'd like to do is I'd like to pass it over to you. What is your first paranormal encounter? What do you remember as a child? And how did it make you feel? And how did it make you grow? Because that first encounter, I never really kind of thought about it through my teen years or anything. But later as I grew older, I thought, that was really, really strange. And it made me question things. And that's where we are today. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to get your comments on what you think I saw, what it was, and listen to your first paranormal encounters, be it a ghost, a UFO, a cryptid, whatever. Something strange that you saw, felt, heard when you were a child. Leave your comments below so that we can discuss. Now, if you enjoyed my story, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel, because there's going to be a lot more videos about ghosts, hauntings, haunted objects, investigations, UFOs, cryptids, missing people, strange occurrences, high strangeness, and you don't want to miss those. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video.